if there is not that separation, it causes so much reactivity, so much pain. Usually it kills intimacy, it crushes sleep, and then sooner or later, if we can't separate from the role, then we lose ourselves because we're so identified with the work role or what we've made that mean that we don't even realize who the hell we are or why we're even doing this in the first place.
What's good, fatherhood? Welcome to Uncommon, the Dad Work podcast. This super special episode with my man, Mike Salemi here. Papa and men's coach. Man, there's nothing better than hearing from their little mouths. Papa, nothing better than that. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
It's so good to have you back again.
It's been a minute. You and I were connecting before, and I think the last time that we really had a solid check-in was over a year ago, I think.
Yeah,
Too long,
it's been
man.
a while. I
Yeah.
feel like I need to give you a big hug and just hold on to you for a minute. We were talking right before we hopped on here about something that I encounter a lot, and I think a lot of guys encounter almost every single day, is coming home and not being in the right state, especially for the ones that we love the most, for wife, for kids. So what happened?
So I'll break it down because you and I were diving into this a few minutes ago, and there's been so many times in my life where part of me has known or part of me has had difficulty in that transition from, we'll just say, from work mode into family mode or home mode, even before I was in a relationship, because the part of me that's been a grinder, a worker as an athlete, like that part is in me. And I've had a hell of a time separating those two roles, and they are interconnected. However, this was 3-4 weeks ago. Now, I don't know about, well, I imagine you're very similar to me, but for those listening, with working from home, like this is my home office, my podcast studio, my practice space, like this room upstairs. I literally open one door, walk down 10 stairs, and boom, I got my beautiful wife. I got my beautiful 3-year-old son, Luca. And I remember this 3-4 weeks ago, and I was going back to back to back on calls. And I've learned that I really do need, through the wisdom of my wife and my own awareness, some buffer in between sessions and calls. Sessions can be heavy. Sessions can require a shit ton of tracking, focus, presence, whatever a man's bringing. And when I do that, it does take bandwidth. So even in between clients, I've been way more hygienic with my own practices to shed, regulate, and then come back for the next session. On this particular day, however, I'm up at 4:30 doing my morning practice before my son gets up. So I'm up at 4:30 practicing for almost an hour. Then I'm Papa mode with my son. He gets up. We make his favorite pancakes. I was sneaking a little bit of liver caps in there, eggs. So he's getting it. He's getting it dialed, right? And I love that part of the day. But I went back to back with very little breaks, and I was already fatigued and tired. And I open the door, go right downstairs, and I'm still in go mode. Like my nervous system is elevated. I'm activated. There was no separation. I was call, and then I was running late, which one of the things also I've been working on a lot is setting stronger boundaries from work to home. So I'm not working, like it's almost 90% of the time I finish between 5 and 5:30. It used to be whatever's required to support and provide for the family. That works, but there's also costs and consequences. On this particular day, I speed downstairs, don't even recognize how fast I'm walking down the stairs, the pace in which my speech rate is going really, hey, honey, what's going on, Lauren? Not Lauren. Hey, what's up, honey? Give her a peck on the lips. Give my 3-year-old son, Luke, who's eating dinner, a peck on the lips. And then I'm writing immediately on our whiteboard in the kitchen that lets her know what the schedule is for the week so she knows where I'm at. So I'm fucking doing that. Then I'm hungry because I didn't really eat much that day. And I'm just like a bumblebee going zip, 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 zip. And Lauren just goes like, I'm trying to remember the exact words, but she goes, you're bouncing everywhere. Like what, like, where are you right now? That's their classic phrase. Where are you? Or where did you go? And it just hit me like a ton of bricks because when she said that, there was clearly pain in her voice from my experience. There was clearly like, whoa, you haven't been here all day. I've been with Luca all day right now. and you're coming down, moving 100 miles an hour. You're physically here, but you're not mentally, emotionally with us, and we need you. And in that moment, it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, holy shit. Like, I've been aware of the importance of that time of transition. And usually the awareness of that importance have come through the pain teacher, as Check would say. And in more times than I can count over the years, I have missed a small intentional window to downshift or switch my state and to, in my frame, in my head, to switch roles. And that day was like the big wake up call where I was like, man, as especially who are in this space doing this work, so much attention gets put into the morning routine. Some attention gets put into people's evening routines, much less. But my morning routine, ritual, whatever you want to call it, dialed, like super dialed. It's my non negotiable, the most important part of the day. Evening routine, 70% of the time, it's good. I got to wind down, boundaries around when work ends. Me and Lauren got our flow when we watch a movie at night. We put Luca down. We got that. I was like, I have not brought a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the level of intentionality and priority in actually one of the most important times of the day. And that's when I'm switching primary roles from work mode, go mode, provider mode into you need to get more connected and resourced within your own self and your own heart and bring that version because truthfully, and I'm sure you'll agree, my son could give two shits about what sale I just closed or what who I was talking to or what even what practice I was doing. He just wants to feel me. So that moment, and again, it wasn't even so much what she said, it was how she said it. And I just knew immediately because I was just opened that door and it boom, ran downstairs. I was like, damn, she's right. She's right. Now it's my opportunity to look at that and to address it.
Where did you go in your head in that moment? Damn, she's right, but what else?
Truthfully, like even just saying this out loud, there's she's right, I know, and also a fair bit of self judgment in that moment. Like, fuck, man. Self judgment in the sense of she's right and I should know better, but also I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. Like, I've been up since 4:30, back to back to back for the providing that I do for our family, and also to be met with how I experienced part of it in that moment was also criticism, like, "Damn, baby," like, it was difficult for me, like, looking back afterwards, I can have the awareness even more so of what she was, being with Luca. He had tantrums, I could hear him screaming during the day, having his thing, but because I was going so fast, I wasn't as much in my heart to even feel that, so I felt her pain, but I was still like, "But what about me? What about me?" And so it was a mix of all the emotions of disappointment, shame, self-judgment, judgment of her, wanting to be seen and validated. It was the whole concoction, and it happened so quick. Like it's remarkable and continues to humble me at how many emotions I can experience in literally 1.5 seconds. Like, goddamn. And yeah, so that was some of what came up.
Yeah. Yeah, before we even go forward listening to this, how often do you have this play out in your own life that you finish work after that grind and you're doing your best to maintain that 5 p.m. hard stop so you can get home for the family? And then you get home, you walk in, but you're not really there. You're not really there. It's like Lauren said, like, where are you? How often do they get the scraps, the dust that's left from that grind, the ashes from burning it at both ends for them? It's just an honest self answer. You don't even have to say anything. You don't have to email me. You can. You email Mike too. How often does that happen? It happens to me too. We're in my garage right now. I'm totally honest with you guys. This is my garage with my nice Claymore, my William Wallace sword on the wall behind me. And it's the same thing. I'm in here. I work hard, I grind, and then I can literally walk 10 feet to the back door and be in there with them.
Mm,
And if I don't transition, they don't get me. They don't get the best of me. They don't get my heart, my love, my nurturing. And I walk in there and my son is just like, he like walks and he like grabs me. My son is so physical. It's so cool to see the difference between him and my daughter who just wants to be held. My son is like, he needs to run into me. He needs to push into me. He needs to hit me. He needs me to like throw him on the couch and put him in a headlock. But if I'm not here for it, it's so easy to push that exuberance away and be like, give me a
mm,
minute, buddy. And sometimes like I do need a second to do, like, I gotta take my shoes off so I don't get the floor dirty. But that's not usually what's happening. Usually it's like, I can't handle your energy right now. Give me a second.
mm.
If we don't have this ability to transition.
Yeah, I think it's a sleeper, man. For most of us guys, it's a sleeper. It's we're so I'm speaking of myself and also doing this work. We tend to be creatures of habit, automatic. And that time of transition, what I really want to invite in, like, it's going to look different for every guy, but maybe like for me and for you, it's yours is the garage door. Mine, like, what's the signal? What's the anchor? Like, what's the switch? So for me, it's this office door, but for some guys, it might be they, pull up into the driveway. That might be their switch. Maybe it's depending on where and how you work, it's when you close your laptop. But there's a moment, there's a signal or there's an anchor moment in every man's day where there's a significant noticeable shift. And like I'm just feeling into as I'm sharing this, especially before I was with my wife and even in the beginning stages of being with her. Like I said, I would just work nonstop. Like, I don't even know if there was a switch at that point. The switch was I'm, like, taking myself to extreme exhaustion, and my eyes are just burning, or I'm so hungry now that the signal for hunger is maybe I should eat or slam some ketones so I can get back to work. So, in those regards, like, some guys may not even have a noticeable shift because they completely have no like, they're just in it all the time, and I think entrepreneurship is one of the easiest traps to get into because you are your own boss, which is incredibly empowering. I mean, there's so much to that freedom, but that freedom can come at a cost if there's not some semblance of structure behind it.
Yeah, I think about phones and iPads all the time. Not because I want to be on them, but because they have a very finite life. They have that battery. And if
Mm,
you're on, well, you've got 25 apps open in your head, you're not actually here present with them. You're running that onness on your phone until you burn that battery out. And then what do they get? They get the dead phone version of you when you walk in. And it's so easy. It's so easy, especially in an entrepreneur role, especially in running your own business, especially if you're a sole provider. You wake up in the morning like, I don't really want to get out of bed today, but man, I do. Like, if I could just stay here and be with them and be great. I just want to be with my wife. I just want to be with my kids, but I got to get up because I got to work out. I got to do my practices and then I got to get off to the workday. And then you give it everything. And then you get home and the people that you want to be with, that you do it all for, like, you can't even really be there for them. You can't even really connect.
mm,
I think that's the part that hurts the most. And I experience it too. Like, if I don't take the time to make sure that I close all those apps on my inner phone and I stop that battery drain and I take a moment to even turn the inner phone off because there's nobody I need to send messages to. There's no networking that really needs to happen. If I don't do that, I'm not even able to enjoy the time that I get with them because I'm not actually here for it. And then what? Then what? I'm still working, checking Instagram, checking emails, whatever. This message came up from a client. I'm checking that. I'm not actually with them. And then I wake up the next day and I'm still like, oh, it's 4:30. I got to get up, but I just want to lay next to Jen and Tucker for like a couple more minutes.
mm.
And I can't wait to see them at the end of the day. But then we just go through that same cycle over and over. So you had a workshop about this the other day. What do we do, man? What do we do here?
I mean, the first thing is to bring awareness and mark this point in the day, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Like, it's just become more and more and more apparent that this is as important as the morning routine. And in some ways, it's more important. Like, I think the morning routine is important to resource ourselves, to give to ourselves so we can, you know, bring that overflow, get our mind right, all of that. And this time of transition, of mentally, emotionally switching roles, I've seen it cause within my own life and now being much more like focused on this challenge and this problem as I'm talking to more guys when they're picking up their kids. If there is not that separation, it causes so much reactivity, so much pain. Usually it kills intimacy, it crushes sleep. And then sooner or later, if we can't separate from the role, then we lose ourselves because we're so identified with the work role or what we've made that mean that we don't even realize who the hell we are or why we're even doing this in the first place. So the first thing is to really mark that. And in the workshop last night, and I'd love to I'll just share as much of it as we got time for, but I shared just a super simple framework. But the first step of the framework of 4 steps is to anchor. And part of this was inspired in part by Tiny Habits, BJ Fogg's book, to draw on as little like motivation energy as possible. So to mark down what is your signal and as much of it as possible. It doesn't have to be like maybe you work at a coffee shop one day, maybe you work at home another day, but just bring intentionality and mindfulness to this part of your day and mark what is that action that you're already doing automatically. Just like, he uses examples, everybody sleeps. When you get out of your bed, your feet hit the floor. That's an anchor. Everybody brushes their teeth in the morning. You're going to do that irregardless. There is little to no motivation required to do that task or that action. So if it's closing the laptop, if it's my last meeting of the day, when I turn off my computer, set an anchor. And my strong encouragement is to set an alarm and or mark it on your calendar so you visually see it and start really identifying it as it's not a sometimes I'm going to do this. Like, no, this is a fucking important part of your day. If you miss this, the downstream consequences, if you're present with it and you realize and you're fully with it, are so much worse than doing 5 minutes. And it doesn't need to be a full practice, doesn't need to be 15, 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes, and I'll give you some examples, it's literally 3 breaths. It's literally an affirmation with a somatic, I'm here. That's my cue at the end of the practice, step 4, for me. And that has a lot of meaning for me because in part what I shared about my wife, she's like, where are you? Like, where are you? So the switch in my head, like I just got chills up my back when I personally say it from that vibration, and the last step after I do my practice, I'm here and I hit my heart twice. When I do that, it's literally like a switch going off, but it's a different switch than like if I'm stepping under the squat bar and I'm fucking locking in and hitting. That's a different. I'm not bringing it like intensity into it. I'm actually fucking rubbing my heart like, man, I'm here. I'm fucking here, Mike. I'm here. And so, first step is to create the anchor. So, find something that you already do, mark it, make it visual in your day, time block it out. So, there's no way you can skip it. Make it a different color. The second step is to notice. So, and again, this could be super quick 5 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, but take an intentional time to do an inventory of your state. You can do, I mean, to keep it simple, 1 word to describe your current state, and then scale of 1 to 10, where's your energy at? Something to create a pattern break. Now, you can add in where you feeling tension in your body. You could be adding in the speed of your thoughts. You can, just that could be its own, be the downshift protocol, or could be the thing to separate you. Because oftentimes when we're locked into go mode, structure, providing, hopping on calls, I'm not saying that we're not connected to our heart, but we're locked into a different part of us, right? A different role, different shoes that we step into. And so, like you and I clearly said, what do they need? They need us to connect it to our heart. I mean, we've all heard the longest distance a man can travel is the distance from his head to his heart. And so many of us guys are literally severed at the neck. So just that moment. And what I find too is oftentimes, and I'm speaking from personal experience, both as a coach, but largely from my own and the pain that this has caused me, and therefore the motivation to really make this a priority. At times, I have had no idea how much tension, subtle tension I'm carrying in my body without having a moment to check. So for me personally, especially as an Enneagram type 1, I tend to hold, and I know a lot of guys do too, but tension in the jaw, the clenching of the teeth, and I don't even realize it's happening. So I'm really aware of where are my classic patterns of holding tension. I may not even be realizing, like I'm in my breath consciously the majority of the day. And if there's things that throw me off, if there's no buffer or little buffers in between sessions, if Lauren and I went through something, like there's all these things that come up in real time that, yeah, my breath can get shallow, my shoulders can elevate. I'm going to breathe high, tight, all that sort of stuff. But a moment to check in. And I've been so surprised at just what that's done with my relationship to myself. Because all of this is how can we create an intentional moment to be with ourselves so that from that place, then everything that we've been talking about, then they get to be with those parts of us. So it's a conversation with parts of myself, and it could just be 5 seconds. So the second step is notice. Simply, what's the state? What's the energy at? And just check in because that information is part of the pattern break. But then it can also help inform what practice, what tool, what you're going to use. There's an infinite number of tools that we can use to shift our state, to regulate ourselves, to get into our hearts. This will give you the insight, hopefully, especially if you've practiced or you're working with you or working with me or you're studying some people out there who really focus on state changes. And as a related side note, I really do believe that the sign of, or one of the telltale signs of a healthy man or a vital man, a powerful man, is a man who can have control and shift his states at will. The longer that we're in a state but can't consciously shift out. So if I'm feeling just charged up, activated, if I stay in that, like that may be necessary for a specific moment, objective, whatever. But if I can't lead my own nervous system out of that, then for me, that's not a really vital man. But if I can allow myself to be what I need to be, like be locked in with you, but literally right after this call, give my wife, Lauren, a hug and let her melt into me and bring a level of just, I got you, baby. I got you. And just feel her and hold her like that shift. And to do so at will or intentionally, that for me is the sign of a truly healthy, vital man. So I can pause there and then I'll gladly go into the other steps, but I'm just curious if there's anything coming up for you as well in that.
Yeah. Well, as you're listening to this, I imagine that you talked about that, your holding pattern in your jaw. As you're listening to this, where do you know that you hold stress in your body? A lot of guys like traps, neck, shoulders. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He was like, wait, that's stress? My jaw's been like popping the last few weeks. That's what you're telling me? I was like, yeah. So number one, where are you holding stress in your body? The other thing that you were just saying that I experience when I'm not tuned in, when I'm not transitioning, when I'm not shifting well, and I think everybody listening has had this too. You walk into the house and you're not that, you're not that open-hearted, we could call it rock, that can hold her when you walk in. And instead of her being able to melt, her body being able to relax and yours being able to relax. And
Mm,
there's so many cool hormonal things that happen when you just take like 5 or 10 seconds just to hug or just to hold each other's gaze. Well, then it's almost like a magnet. So you're going to repel each other, push each other away. And there's this tension between you. I feel like it's almost as if it's static tension.
mm,
And it's not big things often. You don't have big fights, but you have little like static shocks against each other, little things that you say, little things that you do, little digs, little moments, little eye rolls. And it's not bringing you closer together. It's just pushing you further away from each other. And you're able to take a moment immediately after this to shift your state so that when you can walk out there or that when you do walk out there, you can just be that steady presence and help to really ground whatever charge there is in her and you like an electrical ground. Just like, I can take this, let me dissipate it, let me be here. And I was thinking about this the other day. I think that almost all of the problems in our life in our relationship, our marriage, our sacred union, whatever you have, in our relationship with our kids comes from our lack of capacity
Mm,
to manage the tension. We hold it. We get locked into that state. Just as you said, we get locked into it. What's the name of when it happens to a tree when it hardens? I can't think of it right now, but
mm,
that state hardens. You get stuck in it. You can't break it. And then when you need to change state, you end up snapping like a dry noodle instead of being able to do something else. And I agree. There's no better gauge of a man than a man that can shift state
mm,
into whatever state is asked of him in this moment. Before we came into this, I had a powerful session with a client. Before that, I had my barber no-show me and texted me that he was sick. The same message he sent me 3 weeks ago. And I was so angry. I was like, fuck. But I had to be able to do something with that. I couldn't hold it because it was going to affect my session with my client, which is a sacred space for me. I couldn't
mm,
hold it because, well, that would affect this. I had to do something with it. I can't just keep it in. And I think of that emotion like a possession. It possesses you. Whatever you're feeling, it's like a little Final Fantasy skill menu. It's going to pop up whatever thoughts and words and actions that you have access to when you're in anger or when you decide that you are angry, like the old kids' books. Like, hey, Mr. Angry, that's me. But if we're not aware of that, back to the first stage of this framework that we're talking about, or the second stage of this framework we're talking about, if you're not even aware of that, well, it has you.
right.
There's nothing you're going to do about it.
Absolutely, man. And I think it would be helpful too, depending on people listening. So, in that second stage of the noticing, now there's for sure more states than this, but I tried to simplify it for the workshop. And so I want to share this too, just for some context, because some of these can overlap. Some of them we may find ourselves in one more than the other. But here are four general states. Like as you're checking in with yourself, one, are you depleted? And so when I'm saying depleted, like, are you just exhausted? Are your eyes burning? Are you feeling just a heaviness, a fogginess? So like we all know what resource depletion feels like when we just, that gas tank is super low and we could literally just pass out. And we just need to sleep. Like I just need to go to the couch. I just need to go to the bed. So check in. Are you feeling energetically depleted? Or I'm sorry, your vitality being depleted? Second is check in if you're tired but wired. So are you wired? Meaning, is your mind the speed of your thoughts, the speed of your speech? Are you, you could have eye burning too, like just I'm in front of computers all day. Maybe you had too much coffee or your system's just so ramped up. So do you just feel activated and wired and you're having difficulty turning the volume knob down at the speed in which you're operating, thinking, moving, emoting? Just like that day when I shared earlier in the story with Lauren and I, the main dominant thing was I was wired. Like immediately open the door, go downstairs, run, pop, pop, pop. Like everything was fast, fast, fast. The third would be overwhelmed. So this would be, in my experience, more emotional overwhelm. So are you carrying heaviness from the workday? Maybe a meeting or a sales call didn't go well. Are you just feeling overwhelmed with, again, like I was mentioning earlier, man, I worked so hard. And then as soon as I step downstairs, I'm being asked so much as well. And I just don't have the capacity, to your point a few minutes ago. So are you just feeling at emotional overwhelm? I mean, I'm not proud of this, but this is the truth. There has been moments and times where, especially, I mean, I do much less movement coaching these days, but when I've literally parked down the street because a part of me has been afraid to come home because I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed right now. And I was doing what I needed in the moment, not really consciously, but I was like, I can't go home yet. Like I just can't, like I'm so overwhelmed right now. And I know when I open that door, like I'm gonna collapse. So I was doing it out of necessity, but the story I told myself was at that time, it's not even safe for me to be in my own house. I'm maxed. So are you overwhelmed? And then the fourth is, are you numb or disconnected? Like, are you just having a hell of a time, no matter what you tell yourself or what you do, trying to connect to your heart, to feel your own feelings, to even connect to what we're saying. I don't even know if I'm depleted right now. I don't even know if I'm overwhelmed. I'm just I'm just going through the motions right now. So again, there's more states, but those are for general. There could be overlap, and that will help you as a man or whoever's listening right now help decide, like, do you really need more of just a resourcing practice? Do you need more of a just a complete down regulating practice? Do you need, to your point, like overwhelm, discharge, something like shaking, like something to bring to your mind's eye the challenge, the stress, whatever it is of the day, and to really just shake it out for 5 minutes and then go into stillness and feel like that's great for disconnection too, to feel the sensitivity of your own body and to actively wipe it off, shake it off, move it, change the pattern, whatever you got to do, get weird with it, right? Put on some music. So that can help, one, give more articulation and context to what so many guys have difficulty articulating, which is what they're feeling. But also, it can help guide and navigate what type of practice might be most supportive in that moment for that state. And again, my strongest encouragement, and I shared this with the guys in the workshop, is whether you use this framework that I'm sharing or do something else, just fucking do something. Like something. I don't care. Just put it on your calendar, and at least mentally a part of you will recognize there's something different and it's not automatic. If it's just a check-in, great. If it's a practice that I'll share in a moment or shaking, great. If it's your affirmation, great. But do something, because the consequences, if you don't, it's not even funny how much it outweighs what it requires to do what we're talking about right now. It's like not even funny. So, third stage. So, we talked about anchor, notice, and now we're into regulate. And I taught practices that were less than 5 minutes just because I really wanted there to be no excuse. Some of them were 30 seconds, some of them a minute, but take what you want from this. So, whatever the regulation practice is, could be shaking, could be breathing light, could be a cadence style breath, 4 in, 8 out. It could be ground connection. So, just feeling your feet on the floor. There's an infinite number of practices, could be a stretch. Whatever you feel you need to create some degree of resource and regulation, do it. Then the final stage,
Wait, before we
it,
go there,
yeah,
Mike,
yeah, please, please, please.
what's
Yeah.
your favorite? What's your favorite one? What's your favorite one right now in this moment? Your favorite regulation practice?
As I was prepping to teach this workshop, I literally, after every client, I did a regulation thing just to test like a 5 minute. So I've been in just so many the last 3 or 4 weeks as I've been prepping. But I think for me, at least the one that comes up most clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, is the shaking. So it's so somatic. And so if someone's listening and isn't familiar with it, the realm of qigong, so any shaking exercise, you do not need to overcomplicate it. Controlled, uncontrolled shaking. It could just simply start first, close your eyes, ground your feet, little bend in the knees, take a few deep breaths, and then I would just say just start micro bouncing. It's more about the vibration than anything. And then as you start it's a great warm up exercise too for any other practice. But as you start doing that, just slowly start with the legs and then start with the pelvis. Just start shifting your pelvis side to side, trying not to move the shoulders, and then move up to the shoulders, and then do the shoulders and pelvis around the spine. And then, so what I'm saying is we're starting really from, yes, the ground up, but also the core out. So we're shaking kind of the center column, and then just fling your arms out, make faces, stick your tongue out. And anytime you identify that you're going through a rhythmic, the same pattern, change it. So just keep changing, keep moving. And it's more about literally just shaking the tree, shaking. Like if you were grabbing a thin tree outside and you grab the trunk of it, just shake it. And whatever dead leaves are meant to fall, they will fall. And what I find too is really good and helpful is oscillate that with moments, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever you can afford, with stillness. Like just like a contrast shower. Like, yes, there's benefits to cold for sure. And the real, at least through my experience, one of the biggest benefits is when we contrast hot and cold, right? There's a pumping, there's a lymphatic drainage, there's a shaking out of the system. And that'll give you so much. A lot of us guys are so, relatively speaking, disconnected that we operate best in extremes. That's why, even right now, if you have no idea how much tension you're holding, just squeeze everything, squeeze for 5 seconds, squeeze your balls, squeeze your abs, squeeze your face, squeeze, 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 and then completely relax. And just notice the difference in those two extremes. It'll give you context. And you can even do a few reps of that. Like, that could be a practice. That could literally be 3 reps of that. That could take 30 seconds just for you to recognize within those two extremes, where are you? And like you and I were talking, I don't know if now or before, but the middle way. And as we dance in the extremes, we have way more range of the spectrum that we're operating at and where we want to be. So the shaking practice oscillated with stillness and what you're likely going to feel. And if you've never done that and you're listening, it might feel like, word of mindfulness or caution, it may feel overwhelming for a moment. If you've not developed a relationship with what your own body feels like and the tingling and the vibration, it can be a lot. And you've got your foot on the gas pedal and the brake at the whole time. And as you develop your relationship with this practice or any practice, it just goes deeper. So I love the saying, the longer we work, the deeper we train. And so in the beginning, what I'm suggesting of even the hips and the shoulders, if that's too complex, just fucking move. Move for whatever it is, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And if it feels awkward, great. But I promise you, the more that you do it, you will find so much tension released. And a lot of times, what I love doing, I mean, if you think about Dispenza's work, you bring in a felt emotion into a mental vision and bring in your stress for the day. Like, whatever the thing is, whatever, like, fuck, when is it going to break through for me? Or when are they going to see me? Or when am I finally going to, make that coin? Or when are they finally going to relax? Whatever your thing is, when you're in that moment of setting up, my invitation is to let yourself feel it, let yourself be impacted by it. And if you'd like, use your breath to amplify that feeling. And as you amplify the feeling, then take that into the shaking. If you're open to it, because one of the biggest things that I think is needed for this work, and I say think consciously, is when we allow ourselves permission to go there. Anything will be better than nothing. So anything will be better than nothing, at least through my experience. And if you can allow yourself permission to just feel it's already in there, whether you're acknowledging it or not, it's there. So fucking go for it for 5 minutes. Again, the benefits so far outweigh the cost of it. It's not even funny. So bring that in and shake that out and just let it happen. Like lion breath, whatever you want to do. That's been my favorite because, especially if I'm tired at the end of the day, it can wake me up a bit. That emotional discharge that's so needed. And it's so, like, I feel the contrast so reliably from shaking to stillness. And that stillness, that is what we're bringing to the relationship, right? That is, if you want to be, as a man, more trustable, more felt, more a safe place for your family, for your woman, for your kid, stillness. But that's not stonewalling. It's not like checking out. No, you still need to be relational. That's been a trap for me. I'll go dead and I'm the mountain, but I'm look like the mountain from the outside, but I'm not connected to my own heart. So it's, yes, stillness, but there's also a level of sensitivity. And that's what that contrast. So it's no bullshit. It doesn't require actually really any mental thought unless you're just calling in the memory or the thing you're working with. So that was a long way of saying, but that practice is so reliable. And again, it could be as short or as long as you want it. I've done 20 minutes straight of shaking, actually much longer than that as well, with oscillated 5 minutes of shaking, minute stillness. And so that, I would say, is the best one I'm enjoying right now.
Yeah, I love it. We do one of the things that I teach the guys is I call the primal release technique, and it's oscillating between different types of shaking with different focuses throughout it. And there's nothing like it. If I give myself one good one of like 20 to 30 minutes, like you were saying, that will release so much from me that I don't really need to do it again for 6 months to a year.
Mm.
If I go in so intentionally, it releases so much. Like you said, you shake that little tree, the dead leaves come off. What are the dead leaves doing? Well, they're weighing us down, bringing your awareness to the time. We got 8 minutes. We got 8 minutes of wisdom left from you here. So we've got our transition. We've got our practice. A lot of the guys are going to go shake tonight. 5 minutes or 1 minute. Let it rip. Be crazy. What do we do next?
So step 4 is re-enter. So re-enter for me is where we allow ourselves a moment to orient in the space. So depending on the practice, it might be like blinking your eyes, it might be widening your vision. But the real thing that I want to encourage is, now this can sound different for every man, but I really like expressing, verbalizing, vocalizing some type of word that's your word that lets you know you're shifting roles. I really find, like, similar but different in Tiny Habits, they call it, like in their ABC framework, anchor, behavior, celebration. They do some action, like you could, after you do the new behavior, like, yes, or give yourself a clap, or create an emotional experience from after that behavior. So the nervous system starts learning that. And it could be that, but for me, and it could be simple of like clapping your hands, slapping your thighs, pumping your fist. For me, it's on the heart because that's where I want to be. That's my reminder. And it, even if I didn't say I'm here, if I just tap my heart, like I've done that over these last 3 weeks as I've been playing with all different sorts of really bringing more intentionality than I ever have to that transition. And after sessions, or even at the end of the day, I've literally just said, I'm here, hitting my chest twice, or even just hitting it twice and taking one moment of pause before, like I'll reach with my left hand to grab the doorknob and just stop for a quick second. And I already know my frame has shifted. And so it's cognitive, it's emotional, it's somatic. So something that lets you know, like, hey, I'm going to set this down now. I'm going to set this down and I'm going to re enter into the family. So maybe it's I'm grounded. Maybe it's I'm here. Maybe it's I'm present. Whatever it is that that word for you, keep it simple and make sure it hits something in you. And if it hits something deep inside you, then that in and of itself could be the state shift that you need, right? So those are the 4 phases: anchor, notice, regulate, and then finally re-enter in a way that feels right for you. If a man listening did those 4 steps or any one of those things, I promise, if you did it every single day, just watch how your relationship to yourself starts deepening, and therefore your relationship to everyone else who, I mean, truthfully, why do we work? Yes, it's my calling, it's my mission, it's what I'm here to do. And a big part is I work also because I do this for my family. Like, this is how I legit, this is how I put bread on the table. There's nothing else I'm doing. This is how I provide and buy clothes for my son, feed my son. This is the things we like, this is how I do it. So I'm doing it largely for my family. So why the F not take 1 minute or 5 minutes? And once you start like getting some wins around this and you start breaking the habitual pattern, because this pattern isn't just societal, it isn't just, I think, automatic in us, it's generational. This is what so many of us observed in our fathers when they came home. So recognize what, and I just got chills down my back, what we're doing is we're shifting the epigenetics, we're shifting the deep ingrained patterns. And once you just get a few wins of this, I promise, and it's so easy to slip, but just let the results prove it to you. And if you thought the morning routine was important, strong invitation to put some love and some energy and some depth and presence into that time of transition for you. Get me
At
fired
the
up,
end
man.
here, man. Yeah.
Get me fired up, bro.
Yeah, really, there's nothing more important than being able to shift states. There is nothing more important so that we can really give all of ourselves to the ones that we do all of this for. instead of just what's left. And if we don't start putting that work in now, then we just get more and more locked into that. Well, this is just how I am, and this is just who I am. The ways of our fathers that came before us. And it's not to blame them, but that's the life that they lived. That's where they were. That's all that there was. And we're at a time right now where we have this blessing, this opportunity to create something different. And it's on us to do that or not. And then our kids got to do it. All right, brother.
Amen. Amen.
Well, it's been a blessing to have you here today. And where can we find you? Where can we find what you're up to? Where can we get involved in what you're doing?
Thank you, brother. This has been super fun. And just love you and reconnect with you. I said this right when I saw you, man. Their smile like lit me up. I'm lit up. So, and there's so much parallels in our lives right now. So, just really deeply grateful and appreciative for you. For those interested, so I got a podcast called The King Within. You can check that out anywhere, all the things. Website is Mike Salemi, SALEMI.io. So MikeSalemi.io. I run retreats. I've got a men's group. I do one-on-one coaching. This is what I absolutely love to do. And supporting men like right now with that transition, this is so much on my heart because I've just realized not only is this like when I was comparing it to what's out there, like most people just don't have, like, it's just non existent. Like when I was thinking, it's like, what are most guys doing? We're just not. The vast majority, it's just too automatic. So if you're excited about this or this lands for you or this hits something in you and you want to chat about it or you want to create one for yourself and really learn some tools and practices, I would love to support you. So that's my website, King Within Podcast. And Rob, man, I appreciate you again, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And everybody else, thanks for being here and have an uncommon day. Peace.